Entering the atmosphere in T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Omega Metroid podcast from OmegaMetroid.com. My name is Andy Spiteri, and I am joined by my pal and yours, Doominal Crossing. Doom, what is going on? How are you?
Pretty good in my personal life. I got promoted and I'm making, well, not right now, but I will very soon be making a lot more money than I was. And I was already making fairly decent money for my living situation, but
cheers.
We are leveling up. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we are officially leveling up now, and I think I might be joining you in the TV upgrade pre Metroid Prime 4. That is, unless that UK billboard was actually hinting at a shadow drop,
Oh yeah, I guess we should talk about that. I got to talk about this TV, man. So, big congrats to Doom. That's that we love to see that. I got my new TV. It's a 75-incher 4K HDR. And so my previous TV was like 40 inches, right? So this thing is just like that looks like the biggest movie screen in the entire galaxy, like where my old TV was. I was playing Tears of the Kingdom on there. My God, I was telling Doom before the show started, like my jaw was almost on the floor playing this game, and I was like, I gotta see what Metroid Prime Remastered looks like. So I re-download it. I load up my save file. It's from the Omega Metroid Marathon, and the first thing I'm just like, wow. The Joy-Cons work, which is great because they were not working at all for the back half of the marathon. And then I was like, my God, this looks just absolutely divine. Like I was in the landing site in Talon Overworld, actually. Oh my God, it looked unbelievable. And so I was like, what does Super Metroid look like? So I started playing Super last night, and my wife had to actually like take my Joy-Cons away. She's like, it's 1 a.m. Like, we got to go to bed. Quit playing Super Metroid. So yeah, this TV, dude. Yeah, you should. I don't splurge very often. Like, and you know me, I'm not the biggest like tetrafloppy kind of guy, but man, I might be now with this upgrade. I might be, because this was
Yeah, it's a experience, because you got a 75-inch TV. That's a pretty massive TV for a living room.
This thing is ginormous. Yeah, it's huge.
I've had a TV that's been on my backlist for just over a year right now. The LG G4 OLED panel, and before then I was like, maybe I can get that TV. I'm really gonna have to like really ease on the spending and really focus on spending. This ain't gonna be an issue after the promotion. We're upgrading before Prime 4, baby. So I'm hyped. Very happy for you and your new TV, and can't wait to join you.
That was the first thing. I don't know if I said it on the show, but I got, what is it? Almost a month ago to the day, I got a new job, which is a promotion as well. And I don't splurge on a lot, but I was just like, you know what? This TV is too small. I watched that Metroid Prime 4 trailer, and I was like, I gotta do it. So, yeah, big congrats to you. You know what? I also want to give, just at the top of the show, a big congrats to my pals, Gooey Fame and McKenna, for hosting a very, very successful marathon on Friday at this time. Or no, yesterday, excuse me, which would be Saturday as we're recording. What day is it, Doom? Oh my God.
Sunday. Today's Monday.
They did it on Saturday, and today is Monday. So there's 2 days ago now. I'm on vacation this week, so every day feels like it's bleeding into the next. Anyways, they raised $500 for the Palestinian Child Relief Fund, which is smashing their goal of $300, and played Ocarina of Time, and not only just like they didn't speed run it, they had enjoyed it, they milked it, and they were doing like all the side quests, getting Skulltulas, magic beans, Bombchu bowling, and then they played Legend of Zelda right after. So I wanted to wish them just congrats on a very successful fundraiser, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. I got to drop in and drop out. So I went to go see at 10 o'clock, the 10 p.m. showing, my time, and Gooey is an hour ahead of me. I went to go see Ballerina, which whips ass, by the way. That movie is so awesome, and we're gonna do a virtual theater episode on it. But so I'm like, okay, they'll be finished when I get back. I'll check in, see how it goes. And Goo is like still playing Legend of Zelda. He's literally entering Death Mountain fighting Ganon. So this guy was going for, I think, 14 or 15 hours that day, which is not easy to do. So wanted to give props to McKenna, wanted to give props to Goo. Flashback 64, excellent fundraiser, my friends.
Yeah, congrats to those two. I've seen Gooey guest on the podcast before. I finally got to meet him during the marathon when we were all playing Federation Force together. So that was fantastic.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
Gooey
incredible.
will return on Alien in Review, by the way, and that's coming soon.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we got
for it.
Yeah, we have. We finally, it's funny because I always think to myself, like, when we're on a Metroid news drought, and it's like, man, what the heck are we going to talk about for the next 3 months? And then I don't know how I do it, but somehow I find a way to make we find a way to make it work. And so we got at least 3 months dating all the way to October 1st of episodes in our backlog now. And so very relieved to have that all covered for now. Dreading the inevitable times, plural, that it happens again, but yeah, we love to see it.
That's okay.
And again, a huge congratulations to Gooey McKenna. That's amazing.
Yes, very successful fundraiser, my friends, and I think they slept in like almost all day yesterday, which is what I did after the Omega Metroid Marathon was over. I think I just like unplugged everything and was like, I'll talk to everybody in a couple of days, because that's a lot. So yeah, okay. Well, we got a few things that we're going to talk about today, actually, and I guess that we should start off with kind of an innocuous email that I got, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, maybe. And it actually went to my spam folder, so I didn't see it as soon as I could have. But I got an email from Bandai Namco, and they were like, "Hey, we got some preview codes for this Shadow Labyrinth game." And it took me a second. I was like, Shadow Labyrinth, and I was like, oh, the Pac-Man Metroidvania. And I was like, this game actually looks really cool. And so they were like, hey, we got some codes, a demo for you to play. We got some codes to give away. And I knew that I did not have the time to play it. So I wanted to see if any of the other lads on the podcast would have the chance to. And Doom was actually up to the task, and he was like, yeah, I'll play it. And so if you missed it, we have, it's about an hour and a half of footage on our YouTube channel right now. He's playing the demo, and we're going to talk about our thoughts about like how the game feels, how it looks, the vibe, the controls. Obviously limited from what we've seen so far, how Puck feels. We're going to go and just kind of talk about the daringness, I guess, of like a total reinvention like this. I've got a few games actually that I was like, these are classic arcade games that I think would make like unreal modern games as well, and they're kind of the same kind of vibe where it's like a completely different, weird, shifting tone. So we're gonna talk about that, and you know what? If we have time left over, and I don't know that we do, but if we do, I've seen a lot of chatter on the Discord about Nintendo Today app. Apparently, Doom, they're doing like Metroid A-Z. Have you seen this?
Yes, I haven't checked out the app itself because it's awful, but yeah, apparently, apparently they're doing like daily Metroid content. They're going through the whole alphabet, and they're doing like a little Metroid themed terminology for each letter of the alphabet. Today or maybe it was yesterday, they released the letter D, and it was the word dash. I mean, I guess that's Metroid related, but that's not. I feel like there's a million other words that I could come up with that's more Metroid related than just dash. But
I was about to say, I have not opened this app in forever because it stinks. And I was about to say, like, how much do you want to bet if I open it, there's not a single Metroid thing anywhere, even though it's my only game series that I want to know about, and I don't see anything. I open it, changes to the Zelda release date movie, Donkey Kong Bonanza Direct, Clubhouse Games on Nintendo Music, Ball and Chain Trooper versus Darknut from Echoes of Wisdom, and a Fire Emblem character bio about Marth. There is not a single Metroid thing on here at all. What is wrong with this app? Like, am I using this incorrectly?
I genuinely don't understand the point of this app. It feels like maybe like Nintendo's is like, oh, it can be a random surprise for everyone, but it's like, no, I want the Metroid news. Give me the Metroid news. Don't give me like even if I was into Fire Emblem, like if replace the character by with Samus with like, okay, I already know about Samus. What's the point of this, you know?
And I like Fire Emblem, but like,
yeah,
like, what is this? This app, I think, is just like, I don't want to say actually.
It needs, I know, very 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 above PG-13 language to describe this app. I feel like it just needs a major overhaul because like the biggest factor is just the randomness of it, because like it really does feel like if there's a news story that everyone's talking about, it's like, oh, let me check that news story out myself, but like 9 out of 10 times like I can't see it. And even if I uncheck all of the other game series and I only have Metroid checked, that still doesn't do anything from what I noticed. It still shows me the exact same feed. So I don't understand what the point of any of that is.
I am prepared on this podcast right here, right now, to declare Nintendo Today is the singular worst app that Nintendo has ever released. Ever. I cannot think of an app that's worse. Like Nintendo Switch app, that's actually kind of a cool app. It kind of sucks that it exists, but it's a cool app. Nintendo Music, that's a cool app.
When it first came out, it was definitely up there. I feel like with the Switch 2, they've actually updated it to make it like a pretty cool app, especially with like the image and video sharing. Yeah. Like it's actually like a really streamlined process now, like compared to like all the QR code shenanigans you had to go through beforehand. So I actually think the app, and especially now that the voice chat is like native to the Switch 2 itself, like I feel like that was the biggest issue more than anything, is that you had this convoluted phone call thing that you had to do. But now that that's over, and now that the images and videos is more a priority, I think it's actually like a pretty neat app now.
Not Nintendo Today. That sucks. Yeah, I've been using the Nintendo Switch app a lot. I've been using the interactive map to play Tears of the Kingdom. It's actually like incredible. I wish it was in the game, but it's an incredible like actual interactive map. So I hope that there is something similar for Metroid, because I would love to have something like that as well. But yeah, Nintendo Today is just like the absolute worst. So anyways, we're gonna do our own Metroid A-Z if we have time after this, and maybe we'll make time. I don't know, but on the docket.
Well, we should. Well, I'm about to say, do you want to briefly talk about the Metroid Prime 4 Subway ad?
Yes.
Like, I don't think we have much to say about it anymore, but it was definitely an eventful couple of days in the community.
Yeah. So what happened? I'm gonna summarize here, and if I get anything wrong, fact check me. But there was a subway station in London that had there is a bunch of ads on like behind where the tram car goes, and obviously like for a bunch of different games. And what happened is they put the wrong ad up. So there was an ad for Metroid Prime 4, which said out now, instead of coming whenever it's going to be coming, right? They probably don't even have a poster that says when it's going to be coming, because Nintendo hasn't announced that. But clearly it was the wrong poster to put up, or it was a misprint or like something. But man, people saw this and they were just like, oh my god, is Metroid Prime 4 getting shadow dropped? Is it already out and I just don't know about it? And like people were losing their minds, and I get it. Like I am as excited as the next guy, but you're gonna know like the release date in advance, and it's not gonna get shadow dropped. And if it is gonna get shadow dropped, it's not gonna be broke by like the London subway company, So it was a lot of excitement, and it really, I think, just kind of like reaffirmed that everybody is just wanting a release date. We think we know when it could be. I think either September or November is looking like the target right now. I think if it's September, you probably want to move on that release date soon, which is why I'm kind of leaning towards November.
I'm feeling November myself. Yeah.
I think it's going to be November, and it as we talked about last week, it doesn't seem. Did we talk about this last week? The Donkey Kong Direct? No, we didn't, because it didn't happen yet.
Yeah, we didn't. Yeah, that's right.
Well, let's touch on maybe in a second here, but anyways, so I kind of think like that Donkey Kong Direct is our June Direct. So we'll see. It could just be a random Twitter drop. and for the release date. That could be the case. I hope it's not, but we'll see. And I wouldn't say the September Direct is like impossible either. That's got to get close. But
I feel like a September Direct is pretty likely at this point.
Well,
like,
no, sorry,
like,
let me rephrase that. Like, there will be a September Direct, but I think that maybe we could get the release date for Metroid Prime 4 in that Direct. That would be close,
Gotcha,
and it would obviously have to be November in that case.
I would imagine if the release date is not revealed on, Twitter before then, I feel like it has to be revealed in a September Direct, unless it's being delayed. I don't think it's being delayed at this point, though. They are pretty, in fact, because as of today, someone made a pilgrimage over to that poster, and as of today, it looks like it has been updated, and now it just says 2025 instead of out now. So yeah, Nintendo at this point is still committed to the 2025 release day. I'm feeling pretty confident they're going to make it at this point. I also do want to give most people the benefit of the doubt. I don't think most people actually thought it was being shadow dropped. Most people were just kind of joking and memeing about it. I made a joke on the Discord where it's like, coming next week, definitively ranking Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, Nintendo Switch 2 edition. So but yeah, I think most people were just joking around. There's definitely a few people who were actually speculating about it, but I think for the most part, everyone was just kind of having fun with it. And yeah, it was a fun couple of days. Metroid kind of unintentionally getting into the zeitgeist again is something that I'm always down for. So yeah, I'm very excited for this game. I want to see more, and I want that release date. Yep,
me too. And yeah, maybe we could talk about it further. Like the marketing just seems to be something that people are very divided about, so we don't have time for that today. Maybe we'll get into it on a future episode, but I'm definitely looking forward to a new trailer for sure, because I think that, like, typically what Nintendo will do is they'll have like the first couple trailers, which are gameplay trailers, and then once you get close to the release date, that's when they hit you with like that ba-bam trailer, like the Breath of the Wild one, or even Tears of the Kingdom had a really cool trailer. Metroid Dread is kind of the exception because like it was so close. Like the first trailer kind of was that ba-bam trailer, but yeah, we'll I'm sure that we'll get more as we get closer too. But that was the whole Subway controversy.
Yeah, again, like, I feel like there's so much stuff just in that box art alone that we haven't seen in any of the trailers, and like that at least to me seemed to be hinting at something way more ambitious than what the trailers are letting on, and I'm feeling pretty confident that the next trailer is going to start showing some of that off, so I'm very excited to see that come to fruition.
Yep, totally. Maybe we'll get a Metroid Prime 4 Direct. I doubt it, but never say never, I thought the Donkey Kong Direct was pretty good, actually.
I really enjoyed it. I definitely, I don't think I was quite as blown away as some people were, but that was definitely the Direct that I needed to, affirm, okay, definitely buying this game. Yeah. This looks like a lot of fun. It's, I know Dak's a little bit down on it, and I think it's totally valid, because I think he wanted a very specific type of Donkey Kong game, specifically one kind of in the footsteps of DK64, which I totally get. This feels like a very new and original take on DK that we haven't seen yet. I'm personally all for it. I'm loving what I'm seeing so far, but I definitely understand why this new direction might not be working for everyone, especially because I know him as well. He is also not as hot on Odyssey as we are, and this very much does take a lot of elements from Mario Odyssey.
And I'm kind of in the middle, because I really love Odyssey, but I also kind of wanted a specific, I wanted a Donkey Kong 64 too. That's just kind of what I wanted. The same vibes, the same... and this is obviously, very different. This looks like it's combining, arcade DK with, sort of, kind of Donkey Kong Country, but maybe not. So, we'll see. I'm going to buy it, though. I was impressed enough with the Direct where it was just okay... I'm probably gonna get this on day one, at least of all because the Switch really needs a single player game, or the Switch 2. I don't know about you, but for me, I was okay, I feel like I've got my fill of Mario Kart. I don't need to when I play it again, it'll probably just be racing with friends or something like that,
I've not touched Mario Kart World since we recorded our Switch 2 review episode, or our first impressions episode, excuse me, which is not something I expected myself to say, but I already gave my thoughts on Mario Kart World in that episode, which is yeah, if you want to check that out, you can check that out. But yeah, I'm definitely itching to play something a little bit different. But luckily, July is coming up, and in a way, luckily, but also a way, unfortunately, July, at least for me, is insanely stacked, and maybe insanely stacked for you too. Those Death Stranding 2 reviews coming out today, and seeming like we got another Game of the Year candidate on our hands. So maybe you're finally going to get your PS5 and
I think
get
I
on
have
that.
to. Yeah, I think I have to get Death Stranding. Death Stranding 2 and Final Fantasy, like that combo is probably going to be the one that gets me to give in and get the PS5. So yes. Well,
yeah,
there's another game,
but
yeah. Well, I man, this artwork, like for Death Stranding, there was a piece of artwork that came out and it was like the same artist that does Metal Gear today, but it was like Sam Porter Bridges. Sam Porter Bridges is in Ballerina, by the way. He was awesome. I actually can't even remember what his real name is. Like Daryl.
He's the villain of the movie, right?
No.
Oh, he's not. Oh, I thought he was the villain.
No, he. Well, I won't say actually, but
okay.
Yeah. What is it? Is Daryl Nixon? Is that his name?
That feels like a Walking Dead character. I haven't actually watched The Walking Dead before, but Daryl Dixon that feels like a Walking Dead character name.
Oh God,
I feel like I've heard that somewhere before.
Norman Reedus, that's the guy's name, of course. Duh.
Yeah. My July is about to be ridiculously stacked. So July 11th, the Tony Hawk 3+4 remakes. Super insanely hyped for that. Already got the deluxe edition with all the Doom content pre-ordered because you get the Doom Slayer, you get the Revenant, you get some Doom music added to that, some skateboards. So gonna be on that July 11th. July 17th is a double release. We got Donkey Kong Bonanza, which we just talked about, as well as the new standalone expansion for RoboCop Rogue City, which was my game of the year in 2023. So I'm super excited about that. Unfortunately, though, I might even have to put... Donkey Kong is definitely going to have to wait a little bit. I think I might even have to put RoboCop aside, though, because on July 18th, I'm going to have some homework cut out for me because a little game called Shadow Labyrinth is coming out, which I played a few days ago, and this game is sick as hell. I was very interested in this game. I am straight up hyped for this game now. I am eagerly anticipating this game, and I believe it's only $30 too. So it's a really good entry point. If you're on a budget right now, in just the short amount of time I played, I see so much potential for what the full game is going to look like. And I had an absolute blast playing this. I'm so pumped.
Yes, well, let's dive into it. And first and foremost, we should thank Bandai Namco for reaching out and supplying us, and not only us, but a couple lucky winners with some Shadow Labyrinth codes as well. So I haven't. I think most of them were distributed, and I hope that people are enjoying them. The codes are for Steam as well, so hopefully, and this is going to be on Switch too. I think it's pretty much on every single console, but
it is on every platform you can imagine.
Yeah, perfect. So whatever your preferred console or method of playing this game is, you're gonna have your opportunity. I remember this game being shown off at that really lousy Nintendo Direct. Actually, the one that ended with the Nintendo Today app reveal. You remember that? There was like one more thing. We have this really crappy app that nobody likes. I think that's what it was revealed, wasn't it?
It was first revealed at the Game Awards just beforehand.
Oh, maybe maybe you're right.
Yeah, last year's Game Awards was the actual reveal, but they showed it off in one of the sizzle reels in that Direct. Yeah.
I remember it stuck out to me. I will say that. And maybe you're right. Maybe it was the Game Awards. It was one of those shows or one of those Directs where it's just like everything kind of looks the same. And then this Pac-Man Metroidvania comes along and it's like, what? It seems so bold and so daring and so just like different from what you would normally do with Pac-Man. Because like for a long time, like there were 2D and 3D Pac-Man games, but you were playing, as the yellow guy, as Pac-Man himself, and not it was kind of like a Mario adventure, whereas this is like very clearly something totally different. Like I was trying to explain it to my wife, and I was like, yeah, Pac-Man is named Puck, and he's almost like the Navi of your adventure here, which I think is kind of apt. because you're playing as like just a rando character, right?
Yeah. So I want to say the official name is Swordsman number 5. I could be mistaken on that, but yeah, it's an generic swordsman. Maybe some story details will come up about them later. I actually do have one theory based on one of the NPCs I interacted with, but yeah, it's primarily your random your player avatar character, and then you got Pac-Man on the side, kind of acting as your Navi, but also serving a couple of gameplay functions as well. So a little bit more than Navi as well, I'd say.
Yeah. So, well, let's just dive right in here. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about the demo. You played about an hour and a half. Let's start off with. Well, I mean, we could start off with wherever you want. I'm interested though to kind of hear how like the game felt like when you're actually playing it, and maybe we can get into more like specific mechanics down the road.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I played about an hour and a half on stream. I did play a lot more off stream, and to the point where, because I didn't quite 100% the demo, there was one puzzle that everyone on stream saw me just absolutely failing miserably at.
When you were trying to jump through or over that thing.
Yeah, all those one hit kill things, that platform challenge that I was trying to do at the very end. Of course, classic streamer's curse. I tried it again last night after work. I got it after like the second or third try. Of course, when the camera's not on me, I swear, dude, trust me, bro. I totally nailed it. But yeah, I did finally 100% the demo last night, and I started using some of the mechanics that I kind of forgot to use in the moment during the demo. And so I think I have a full grasp of like everything the game is throwing at me, because when you start the game, it does throw a lot at you, but I don't think that's at least the impression that I got. So sometimes you'll play a demo and it's like this little vertical slice that's like lifted from the game, but then sometimes you'll also get something like the Metroid Prime 2 Echoes demo, which I don't think too many people have played, but that game kind of just has a bunch of random rooms from like across like the first fourth of the game kind of stitched together. Like you go from the landing site to like a random temple grounds hallway, and then you immediately go into the Aegon Wastes elevator, and then right outside the elevator is like one of the opening space pirate fights. That's how, and to me, that's kind of what this demo felt like. It was because I felt like I explored like 4 different areas within the span of like, maybe a fourth of a whole level. And again, like it lays so many different mechanics on you, and it's like these feel like power-ups that are going to be slowly doled out to you during your adventure. And I don't even think these are all the power-ups. I think there's going to be a lot more, but that's kind of the impression that I got, at least. But I could be wrong. I won't know until about 3 weeks from now, really.
Yeah. So how much was included in the demo? Like, I know you kind of touched on it, but like I guess like there was about, because you played for an hour and a half, like how much like time are we talking was included?
So I would say during my most recent playthrough, you can probably 100% the demo in like 20 minutes to half an hour. Probably can go even below that if like you really like you really optimize your play style and do all that. But like right. For a first timer getting. If it's your first time like me, obviously it took me more than that. I was streaming for an hour and a half and didn't quite do it. So I would say you could probably do it between 1 and 2 hours, going from learning nothing about the game to like really getting a grip of like all the mechanics and really fully 100%ing it. But basically the content that it's offered, you got a few rooms with a few different enemies to kind of get a feel of like all the different variants and kind of the play styles that you kind of have to use to defeat them. You get a sense of like some of the different art directions of the areas. So you have like this kind of, I don't even want to call it like a magma area, but it's like this molten rock underground area. You have like this really creepy Taurian looking area that has like a bunch of like biomechanical elements that's like really cool. You have like this furnace area, and then you have like kind of like an underground cave area. It actually, of all games, it kind of reminded me of the second area of Hollow Knight, where you go into like the forest area of that game. So yeah, those are kind of like the 4. And again, each of these quote unquote areas are like at most like 2 or 3 rooms big. The forest area in particular is only 1 room, and then that's kind of where the demo ends. It's like a little epilogue content. You fight 1 mini boss, a couple of like. You know in Zelda how like they'll lock you into a room and you'll do like a little enemy gauntlet round? You get a couple of those in this game, and then you get 1 main boss as well.
Right.
And that's kind of like the crescendo, and then that little forest area is the epilogue after that. And then you also do have some side puzzles that you can do, including the one that I was failing spectacularly on stream, where you can, get like, your energy tanks and your missile expansions, or your equivalent in this game, really. Your puzzle expansions, which are very satisfying once you start to master the controls. But yeah, it's a very short demo with a lot of details and a lot of meat and potatoes really packed in there. To give you a sense of everything. Can be a little overwhelming, like I mentioned. Like it's so over. They drop so much stuff on you. You literally have like the controls laid out for you on the upper right hand corner. Which again, I don't think that's going to be in the final game, because I imagine all of these are going to be slowly doled out over time, and the game's going to give you more time to familiarize yourself with one thing before giving the next one to you. But in this game, because it drops it all on you at once. It has like a little key in the top right, so that you have an idea of like what to press to do like the various actions that it gives you.
There was a lot. I would notice too, like there was a lot of like when you start the game, there's just a lot of those like flashcards that come up and they tell you what to do or like how to do something as well. Yeah, it seemed like there was like a solid amount, like probably, geez, it almost looks like there was like 5 or 6 of them in a row at the beginning of your game.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't think that's how the final game is going to play out at all. I think that was just for this demo, just because they wanted to give you like a large toolkit to play around with, which I think for the sake of the demo, I think was the right move to make for sure.
So let's talk about the feel of the game, like the atmosphere of the game. Obviously, I think that this could have went in like a couple of different directions, like kind of sort of tongue-in-cheek, like knowing it's a Pac-Man game and maybe being a bit silly with it, but it looks like this game is like taking itself pretty seriously from what I can see, which I actually like really like, versus like kind of the silly, and it looks like there's like a bit of fun to be had here for sure, but like it does look like it's committed to being kind of a dark and brooding game. Very, I was thinking like a Hollow Knight or even like you can see some Metroid Dread or even like a Limbo. It looks like some influences here for the design of the game. That was kind of my takeaway from watching the footage. What did you feel, Doom?
Oh yeah, I'm loving the atmosphere. Like if we were doing, obviously, like I've played a fraction of this game. I think this has the potential to be a 5 out of 5, but obviously I got to play way more of the game before I really finalize that. But yeah, I'm loving that. I'm loving this really weird, unique take on Pac-Man. And like you said, it does have this weird bridge where it does kind of connect the two, because you do have like this very brooding and ominous atmosphere. There's always this. When you're playing the game, there's always this feeling of something isn't right here, which I'm all for. I love that feeling in a Metroid game, and this small demo captured that so perfectly. But then on top of that, you do also have like, there's these little walls where Puck will actually transform you into Pac-Man, and you'll start like going up the wall and eating the dots, and it'll make the exact same noise eating the dots as he does in the arcade. and it's charming as hell. I love it. There's also in that little epilogue section in the forest, you'll encounter some of the Dig Dug enemies, and they'll make their little 8-bit sounds too, which also I couldn't figure out how to defeat them during the live stream. I did figure out how to do it on my off time. I will say I'm getting a little off topic, but like I will say I do think that the way to defeat them was super vague, because I don't want to spoil it for anyone who doesn't want to be spoiled, but you don't unlock anything new. You have the way to defeat them. You have that from like the second you start that demo, but there's absolutely nothing in the game that tells you that your one ability can also do this specific thing to defeat them. And I would have never imagined that it could do the thing. I was literally just kind of mashing random buttons to try to figure out something. and I happen to figure it out. It kind of reminded me of the Spider Spark ability in Samus Returns.
Oh, okay.
I guess yeah, it kind of reminded me of that. I don't know whether or not it's more or less egregious, because I definitely figured it out way faster than the Spider Spark. But also, the encounter, I'm pretty sure, is going to be a mandatory encounter in the final game, and not something optional like the Spider Spark is. So that's probably my only criticism of the demo, is this one technique was just really vague and hidden, and there's like, at least as far as I could tell, absolutely nothing that hints that this ability can also do this specific thing. Again, I'm trying to avoid any spoilers for people who don't want any hints when they play the final game. But yeah, aside from that, I have absolutely no criticisms. This demo is phenomenal. And going back to the atmosphere again, I think that biomechanical little layer was probably my favorite area that we saw. It's only a few rooms long. You know, it's this very like high-tech lab. You also meet the one NPC character that's in this demo, the one friendly NPC, at least so far, and he's another unnamed character, and he is, according to him, is the original wielder of the sword that you're using in this game. And I don't know, I have some theories that maybe he's us from the future or something like that, but I don't know, we'll see. So yeah, he's there. There's another puzzle where you can get a couple of expansions that is heavily reliant on the actual Pac-Man mechanic, where you're sticking to the walls, and you actually have to platform as Pac-Man in this mode. And Pac-Man's physics when you're doing these spider ball puzzles almost are very different from the sword physics. And you can leap a lot longer distances, but you don't get a double jump, you don't get a grapple or a dodge. And it's also very hard to control, because once you start moving, you cannot stop. So you can't just stop. You have to either go left or you have to go right and continue on down there. And so you kind of have to time your jumps, because there's also a lot of like hazards, like, you know, like a saw blades that will be running along the edges, or like a laser, and all of these will like one hit kill you and send you all the way back to the start of the puzzle. And so yeah, there's some really fun platforming challenges to get those expansions, and I thought that really contributed to the overall atmosphere as well. It feels incredibly hostile. Yeah, and I absolutely love it.
So what kind of expansions are in this world? Like, obviously it doesn't look like there's like missiles or anything like that. What are we looking for?
Yeah. So so you got your energy tank equivalent. And so basically, like most of the Metroidvanias, this doesn't have like your typical Metroid energy system where it's numbered. It has little segmented health bars, and each quote unquote energy tank you collect, it gives you one more segment of your health bar. You do also have, you know, every Metroidvania I know of that has that segmented health bar also has a healing ability that will fully refill your health. There's another expansion I collected which gave me another heal, so that I could heal twice before saving instead of just once before saving. And then there was another thing that I collected which I couldn't use during the demo. So the final thing that you collect in the epilogue is you collect I think it's called a rare material. And I believe that is used on your weapon upgrade path. So I believe once, so at the save station, you can your sword will have a base damage, but then you can start upgrading it at the save station with all the Pac-Man pellets that you collect. And there's like at least 4 tiers, and I believe once you hit that 4th tier, you also need to use this rare material to get the next upgrade on top of just the Pac-Man pellets, and I believe that's what it was for. And so yeah, I didn't quite do that. I didn't feel like grinding out the basic enemies over and over just to get you know the big upgrade that I already 100% of the demo at this point. So I didn't feel like doing that, but yeah, those were the three expansions. I'm sure there's going to be even more, but you know, as far as those are concerned, pretty helpful in the demo, especially against that first boss.
Well, let's talk about some of the abilities that you're able to get in this game, because it looks like there's definitely a few that are like slightly Metroid coded there. Like there's the one that looks basically like the grapple beam, which turns into like the, what do they call it in Metroid Dread? The spider oh god, like it lets you climb the blue stuff, the spider grip or whatever it is.
Spider magnet.
Spider magnet. There we go. Thank you. So it looks like there's kind of a combination there. Looks like obviously there's some dashing. Looks like there's some stuff taken from like maybe the more combat focused Metroidvanias as well. What kind of power ups and abilities did you enjoy in this game?
Yeah, so yeah, right off the bat, the grapple beam, it was a little bit hard to get used to because at least what it is currently, and I hope there's an expansion for this because I think it would be really cool. But like the grapple beam you have in this game, so you'll see these like floating points in the air. It actually kind of someone in the chat said it reminded them of like a Yoshi story on the N64, and I totally agree with that. I'd also throw out the Yoshi platforming segments in Galaxy 2 as well, which are pretty similar. There's these little floating points in the air that you can latch your grapple beam onto. And there's also these blue, this little blue texture that'll be on the walls and the ceiling, much like how you can use your grapple beam on the spider magnet tracks. You can also use it here to get to those surfaces, and it works pretty similarly. But the thing that threw me off about it at first is that the distance it travels is way shorter, like not just a little bit shorter than the grapple beam, but like much shorter than it is. And it always, at least at first until I really adjusted to it, it always felt like it should be going out just a little bit further than it is. And I do wonder if there's like expansions in the game that slowly increase the distance of the grapple beam. I actually think that would be a really dope expansion. Especially if it ends up getting more utility in the late game as well. I think that would be. I think that'd be a dope upgrade for a Metroid game too. But
yeah.
So yeah, once I got a handle of that, the grapple beam was very satisfying. What else? The combat was also really satisfying too. One of the things I'm not a big fan of when it comes to Hollow Knight is like you just have one attack button and you just do kind of the same attack over and over again. This game is kind of like Prince of Persia, not quite as in depth as that game, but like you have different combos that you can do, and then you also do have like the classic Hollow Knight pogo move where you can attack from above and then bounce off the enemy as well. So you do have a pretty versatile kit with just your basic moves.
I was thinking Prince of Persia, like when I was watching the combat, and actually not even the combat, but even the platforming, like that one puzzle that you were struggling with, it seemed like very Lost Crown to me.
Very much so. And then even in the demo, the NPC character, the former swordsman, he gives you a special move that gets mapped, at least on the Xbox controller, it gets mapped to the Y button. And this one was actually really cool because so it's a special move that uses a little bit of your special gauge, and it kind of reminds me a lot of the Aeon meter in the Mercury Steam Metroid games, particularly in Dread, because when you're not using it, it charges automatically, but then anything that uses that special meter will deplete it. And so you can, if you spam all your special moves, then you'll deplete the whole meter, and then you'll be on a cooldown period before it starts recharging. Or, if you are a little bit more conservative in how you use your specials, you can keep that meter pretty top down. So it's kind of like, depending on the situation, like, how many of special moves do you want to use? And I think both that as well as your dodge both take away from that meter. So it definitely is like, there's a little bit of strategy there, which I really like. But what's really cool about the special move in particular is that you can press Y once and you'll have a little bit of a startup delay before your attack. But if you do the 3-hit basic sword combo and then press Y, you'll do a 4th hit that'll come out very quickly at the end of the combo. And so I found that, especially during the boss fight, to be really useful, and just doing that basic sword combo and then hitting the special move to get a really powerful 4th blow. So I thought that was really cool how that was implemented, because usually these special moves are pretty separate from like your standard attack moves. I thought that was a really clever way to like actually integrate the two into the moveset while also keeping it a special at the same time.
Nice. Well, let's talk about some of the areas in this game. So it looks like you're kind of in like you start off in what's kind of like a fiery area. It's got, this is gonna sound funny, but it obviously reminds me of Metroid, but it also kind of reminded me of like Donkey Kong Country a little bit, like some of those fire areas, the way that it was laid out.
I can definitely see that.
Yeah. I don't know. It just kind of gave me that similar kind of vibe. And then the second half of your playthrough looked like it was kind of in like a, again, very Metroid coded kind of an industrial like complex or something like that, where it looks like this could be Dairon from Metroid Dread or something like that, or Torian, as you pointed out as well. What was your takeaway? And that's just kind of glazing over some of the areas. There's a couple other areas as well, some that almost kind of look Criteria Brinstar-y. Your thoughts on the areas in the game, and then I want to talk about the enemies after, because oh boy, some of these enemies look wicked.
Oh yeah, the enemy design is all over the place. We can talk about that later. But yeah, I love the area design in the game. I particularly love that Torian area for a couple of reasons. One, because as I mentioned, it kind of transitions into like this furnace looking area. And this is also another reason why I feel like they kind of stitched a bunch of random rooms together, because the cave that you start off in doesn't really transition neatly into the Torian looking area, but the Torian looking area transitions very neatly into the furnace area. And so I feel like all of these areas are going to like, naturally coalesce together. Kind of like in Donkey Kong Country, where it's like, you finish the end of one level, and then when you start the next level, it has elements of the ending of that first level that kind of slowly transitions into, whatever the new gimmick is. And so that's kind of the vibe that I got, at least when I was in that Torian level. And I feel like that's how most of the final game is going to play out. But yeah, just grading the individual areas on their own. Like I love the art direction. It's kind of like, I don't know what kind of, like it's a cartoony art style, but it's not like, I don't know how to describe the cartoony. It's almost like a graphic novel art style. Maybe that's like the way
kind of
to describe it. It's a very graphic novel art style, and I think it looks absolutely gorgeous. Like I am loving everything about it. And like I said, the Torian area is my favorite, but there's no area that I disliked in the demo by any means. But that was definitely the one that stood out to me. It also has my favorite enemy, which I don't know if the word enemy is the right word, because it doesn't really fight back against you, but it was my favorite design for sure, at least.
Yeah, let's talk about some of these enemies, because like on one hand you have some pretty nasty looking characters in this game that look like they are like ripped right from a Metroid game, and then as you kind of get into the Torian area, you have these more like, I want to say cartoonish, but I don't mean that with a negative context. It looks like they're drawn like with it almost looks like Spider-Verse kind of, where it looks like they almost shouldn't belong there. So those enemies are, not exactly, they don't exactly look like they fit in. But then you go to this boss, which looks, I mean, this thing could have come right out of Metroid Dread. It's kind of like it almost looks like that Pokemon that has the volcano on its back, one of the newer ones from Sword and Shield, but it's a big long neck. Actually, you know what? This looks like that thing from Metroid Other M that we talked about last week.
It kind of does.
It kind of does. I finished Metroid Other M this weekend, by the way.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's oh boy. But yeah, so some of these enemies, like the designs kind of look like a little bit all over the place, but I can't say that I mind them, because like honestly, if you're in the, like you said, like if you're in the Torian area, like even the background kind of looks like it's got that same cartoonish, like, graphic novel style as well.
Yeah, the enemy design is all over the place, and normally I dock that for inconsistency, but I don't know, there's something about this game, I feel like, because of like this combination of like, the lovable cartoony Pac-Man in just this extremely oppressive universe in comparison. Like I feel like the kind of hodgepodge of like enemy designs really kind of works for me because of that context. And I'm sure like as I play the game and like, bits of lore are dropped, I feel like I'm going to appreciate even more after that. But yeah, I'm kind of really loving this diverse approach to enemy designs. Once you get to the forest area, you encounter the dig dug enemies, and they look really effed up. They like you can like see you can like see through their skin. There's like muscle fibers and stuff like that. Like they're simultaneously very cute and creepy at the same time. And so I really dig that.
I gotta say, so it looks like I think I'm gonna really have fun, like with the mid-air puzzles. I'm watching the area that you like died a million times on, and I think I even commented this is the only time that I was able to stop in, but it looks very Prince of Persia: Lost Crown coded to me, like the way that you need to maneuver in air. I think this looks like really, really fun.
It's really fun puzzle, especially like off stream. Like once I really finally started to get a handle on like the air physics, because like that it took me a lot of time. I didn't quite get it during my streaming, but like the air physics are very weighty, and your control is like when you first start to fall, you don't have control, but then like just over a half second after you start falling, then all of a sudden you like start to regain some momentum and control back, and it was very tough to adjust to during the streaming. I think I finally got a handle of that once I started playing the demo off stream. But yeah, that puzzle is pretty fun to like finally perfect and get, because if you fail at any point during the puzzle, even if you land on another safe platform, if you fail, it will send you right back to the beginning to start over again. So finally, like really,
I like that.
Really finally getting a grasp of that air control and like nailing that puzzle was really satisfying.
Yeah, so there we go. One actually thing before we kind of wrap up talking about this, because we are going to do a full inspired by Metroid on this when it comes out. I think it's safe to say. The music, how was the music in the demo? Was it anything that kind of stuck out, or was it just kind of like perfunctionary?
So most of the music was pretty atmospheric and background music, which for the sake of the demo, I really liked. I really felt like it contributed to that oppressive atmosphere that it's going for. So I really enjoyed that aspect, but not something for the most part that I'd be listening on YouTube. The one exception, and this one completely caught me off guard, was the title theme, which is very saxophone heavy. Not something that appears at any other point in the demo, but it's like this very like smooth jazz like saxophone piece. You have some improvisational drum fills, and I was like, what the heck? I'm enjoying it. Very different tonally to the rest of the music in the game, but again, like for what it's going for, I kind of like that juxtaposition. So I really don't know what to expect. Like I'm sure there's going to be more atmospheric, creepy ambiance, but like I feel like this, in terms of the genre diversity, I feel like the soundtrack could throw anything at me in the final game, and like I'm excited to see what that's going to be like.
Did you ever watch did you watch Black Mirror?
No, I haven't.
That's too bad. There's a specific episode, it's a movie actually, called Bandersnatch, which is like a choose your own adventure, and there's this unforgettable scene for me where this character is he's taken some substances, let's just say, and he goes on this incredible rant about Pac-Man and calls it like Program and Control Man, and how Pac-Man is trapped in a maze, all he can do is consume, he can't get out. Like it sounded like so wild, like when I was listening to it. And there's something about this game that feels almost to me like the realization of that rant. And I know that it's based off of the Amazon show, which does like the video games in like a different way, or whatever it was. I never got around to watching that.
Which I need to watch, because apparently not only is it based off that, apparently, because I reread the press release you sent me, according to Bandai Namco, this game apparently takes place right after that episode ends. So that's like almost like a prequel that like leads up into the game. So I have to get around to watching that for sure.
Maybe we'll do that when we get into the full like inspired by Metroid game here. But I kind of just love seeing like a classic franchise like this just branch out and take like a really big risk, like a really different approach, or a really different style of game than what we're used to. I think it's very daring, and it makes it stand out. And like for me, anyways, I feel like it allows me to give it like a lot of leeway if necessarily it doesn't hit all of those targets, just because it's ambitious, and I respect that.
Something just occurred to me on the spot. So, if we were, what if we were to review that Pac-Man episode of a Final Level, I think it's called? Well, we would need the expertise of someone who's good at telling the stories that shape our favorite video game movies, along with us to talk about the game. So maybe, I don't know, maybe that would be maybe make for a good crossover episode.
It could
in the future.
It very well could. There's always opportunity for promoting shows about video game movies and the stories that shape them. So yes, well, I'm sure that's something we could work. I know a guy, actually. We're gonna do a podcast about Prometheus in a couple of weeks. So yes, So Shadow Labyrinth. It looks really cool. I wanted to play the demo, but I also was like, I knew that I just wasn't going to be able to have time for it. So I'm glad that you got to play it. I'm glad that we got to give some copies away to other people. I've heard good things so far from those that have it. So shout out to Namco for providing that and reaching out. It wasn't something that we asked for. It was just like something that they thought our audience might dig, and I think that they did, and I think that we did. So yeah, big props to them for that.
Yeah, seriously. I certainly didn't expect to get an email from Bandai Namco, but they clearly they just did a bunch of research on podcasts. They found us, and they thought that we would be a good fit to promote their game. And after playing the demo, I am more than happy to shill for Bandai Namco for a little bit. So huge thanks to you guys, and I cannot wait to play my copy in about 3 weeks. There are a couple more things, because I wrote some notes down for my playtime with the demo. We talked about most of what I wanted to talk about already, but just a couple of things. First off, one of my least favorite aspects in the modern Metroidvania revival is this addition of the perk system. I feel like Metroid itself is one of the only Metroidvanias that seemingly has not adopted a perk system. And when I say perk system, I mean, a temporary, not a temporary ability, but you basically
like
you have to slot you have to slot a very specific buff, and you can only, and you have a whole laundry list of optional buffs that you can apply, but you can only choose a small handful of them, and you can only choose them at save stations. I am just not a fan of that kind of design mentality. I would much rather have all of those perks nerfed and then, become permanent enhancements or something that you can swap out in real time. At no point in this demo are there any perks. That could be the case in the final game, but that alone gets, a huge 2 thumbs up for me from the demo. So I hope that's the case in the final game. If not a deal breaker by any means. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown also has perks, and that game is incredible. So if it does have perks, not the hugest deal in the world, but I definitely prefer my Metroidvania's perkless. So just wanted to throw that out there. And then one thing that I didn't show a lot in the demo, because frankly I forgot about it, but I did start utilizing when I was playing last night, my off time, is the Gaia transformation. And this is one of those things that the game tells you about in the very beginning, but you don't really get much of an opportunity to use it later, and it doesn't remind you, so I just kind of forgot about it. But so Gaia is basically this weird biomechanical Pac-Man mechanoid that you can transform into by pressing the L and R sticks at the exact same time. Mm-hmm. And it makes you temporarily invincible and enhances your attack damage. I think Pac-Man's during the first boss, he says like, hey, if you're having trouble, turn into Gaia for a little bit to get some extra damage on this boss. But another thing that you can do, and this was the main thing that I forgot about, is that you can also eat enemies that are defeated and get materials from them. And unfortunately, there's no point in the demo to where you can actually use the materials. They seem like crafting materials. There isn't any point in the demo that you can use the materials on. But eating enemies, I don't know. There's something about it that just feels really satisfying. And so when I was like trying to scoop up every single defeated enemy that I could. And what's really nice, you don't have to you don't have to be in Gaia mode, because that takes up its own meter. You don't have to be in Gaia mode to eat an enemy. If you're not in the mode, this like ghostly apparition of Gaia will come out and eat the enemy, and your meter won't get harmed at all. So they theoretically every single enemy that you defeat can be scooped up and eaten, except for like the main boss battles. Those I don't think, or at least in the demo, didn't give me an opportunity to eat. You can eat the mini bosses though, and so I definitely took advantage of that. Yeah, and like I said, even though I couldn't use any of the crafting materials, and I don't know what the full extent of it was, I don't know. It was just really satisfying eating these defeated enemies as like this, this really messed up biomechanical Pac-Man monster. So yeah, I thought that was really awesome. I definitely can't wait to see how that's fleshed out in the final game.
Yeah, that sounds fun to me. I'm really excited for this game. Like, I think that it has a lot of potential and like looks really fun.
Yeah, like I said, I was already like interested in the game, but after playing the demo, like it has shot so high up my list. I'm so excited to check this out.
Any other thoughts on the demo, kind of before maybe we move on here, Doom?
No, I think that's about it. That wraps it up. I believe at this time the demo has expired, so I don't believe I'll be able to replay it at this point. So I'll have to wait till the release of the final game. Hey, I'm not greedy by all means. I am a very grateful individual that I got a demo, but I mean, hey, Bandai, if you're watching this episode, if you wanna throw your boy a cut, it actually doesn't matter. Like I said, it's like $30, I think, so it's actually like fairly cheap for like a Metroidvania by all standards. So I don't mind at all paying the price. From what I've played in the demo, it's more than worth $30. So yeah, very excited.
Yes. Well, there you go. So Shadow Labyrinth, it's coming out soon. It's coming out very soon. So we'll follow up on this. I'm gonna buy it, and then we'll do a show. Maybe not right away, but definitely sometime in the summer. Talking about all of our thoughts on this game, how it all kind of came together, and how the rest of the game kind of weaved in classic Pac-Man elements with new Metroidvania elements. I'm just like really excited for the precedent that this might set. Like I was thinking today, Doom, and I was like, man, what are some like classic arcade games like that they could make? I was like, I would love to see like Galaga as like a tactics RPG or something like that, like something like Star Fox Command or something. Can you imagine like you're playing God of War, and instead of the two like big things or whatever like that Kratos has, he just has like the Pong paddles? Like that would go hard. Like I feel like there's so much. You could have Asteroid be like a puzzle game, almost like Portal, where you gotta make like there's so much potential for like these developers to take these names of games that we all know from yesteryear and do something fun and different with them. So I hope that this kind of creates that precedent, because I think that there's lots of opportunity there.
The one that I want to see has technically already been done, and that's Spy Hunter. And Spy Hunter got rebooted in the early 2000s, and that first game, I love that first game, and it got a couple of sequels after that didn't really hit, and so it's kind of fallen off since then. But it's been about the same amount of time since that reboot that it's been since that first reboot, and I'm like, man, I want to see Spy Hunter come back, but like obviously you can't just do the same tone that the reboot. You got to do like a brand new, and I think with like the way gaming is, I think there's so much stuff that you could do with like a Spy Hunter game today. So that's what I would love. I don't think it's gonna happen. But yeah, I love those the classic and the reboot Spy Hunter games.
Yeah, I think that those I'm just like a big fan of like just having these old IPs and reinventing them and reinterpreting them. I think that that's just like really fun. So hopefully this is the beginning of a trend. And we see some more of that kind of going forward here. All right, Doom. I'm sorry, I cut you off. Go ahead.
No, you're good. No. Yeah, because unfortunately, like, Discord has a slight delay between us. So, but anyways, but yeah, like I was saying earlier, this game is available for pretty much every platform you can imagine.
Yeah.
the Xbox consoles, PS4, PS5, Steam, Nintendo Switch. There's a free Nintendo Switch 2 edition upgrade as well. So for us Switch 2 owners, if you want to play it portably, you can get some graphical enhancements from that as well. But yeah, it's available pretty much everywhere that you can think of.
And it's coming out in like a month. So
yeah,
get ready. You know, we haven't had a true like new Metroidvania on Switch 2 yet, so this will probably be the first. So there you go. Okay, we got a few minutes here, Doom. Let's take like 5 or minutes or so. Let's play a little game here. We were lamenting at the beginning how terrible that Nintendo Today app is. And so when I saw this yesterday, people were trying to predict like what was the Metroid A-Z. I was sitting down, I was eating dinner, and I was like, I bet you I could make one in like 2 minutes. And it took me about 5 actually. And the letter that I struggled the most on was J. J and Y stuck out to me. Those were my last 2 that I was able to do. So maybe once we get there, you could try and educate me on anything that is different here. But let's play a game. I have A to Z here, and there's no right or wrong answers. You're just trying to guess like what I put, and a lot of them have like multiple answers that are, you know, things that could be associated with those letters. So let's start off with A, and we'll see how close or how far apart we are.
All right, I'm gonna go right off the bat and say arm cannon.
I went Adam Malkovich.
Okay, that's a good one. That's a good one.
I think arm cannon was the official one on Nintendo Today, right?
I'll be honest, I cannot remember at all. I think it remember was at all. The only one I remember is that they did Chozo for C. That's the only one I can remember.
Well, let's just jump ahead because I did Chozo for C too. And that makes sense. I feel like I guess you could go like Charge Beam or like a bunch of different things actually. But okay, B.
It's probably not this, but I want to say anyways. Boost Guardian.
You know what? I missed that opportunity. No, it is bombs. It is bombs. Okay,
that's a good one.
I'm gonna give you 3 before I tell you what it is, starting from now. So D, and I'm gonna tell you it's not Dash. That didn't even cross my mind.
Okay. I don't know. We were joking that it could have been Dairon earlier. Did you do Dairon just to mess with Dak?
No, I should have.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Let's see. Metroid words that start with the letter D.
So it's like can be characters, planets, items, whatever.
Dane?
No.
Oh, that would have been a good one. Let's see.
Think more. I actually struggled a little bit with D too, and then I was like, "Oh my god, duh!" When I thought of this,
I can't. It's not Metroid related at all, but like the word that keeps popping into my head right now is D12, the rap group from back in the day that collaborated with Eminem a lot.
Well, Eminem was part of that group. He wasn't supposed to be. There was somebody died, and then he just stepped into. Their first album was kind of okay. The second one was not that great.
I'm trying to
think Smash Bros.
Let's see think Smash Bros. Okay.
Yes.
Let's see. So we got Brinstar Depths. I don't think Depths is going to be the D word there.
You're smack yourself in the head when you hear this. Think
Pyrosphere.
Don't think stages.
Okay, don't think stages. There's the dark suit color palette. It could be that, but I don't think it's going to be that.
Can I just tell you?
You just tell me. This is going to take forever.
Dark Samus.
Oh my god, yeah. Okay.
I actually skipped D and then came back to be fair. Okay, E.
That's a good one. That's a good one though. Energy tank.
Elevator could have been one too, actually, though. That would have been good. F. I struggled a little bit with F, actually, too.
Let's see. F. I feel like there's a planet that starts with the name F, and I don't know, though. Or excuse me, like an area.
There is.
There is an... Okay, there's an area... There's an area that starts with the letter F. Ferenia.
Ferenia is... So, I have Ferenia... But then I was like, hey, I could have put Federation Trooper or Federation Force.
That would have been a good one too, yeah.
Did not. G, which has a lot of different possibilities.
Oh, G. Like, I agree, there's a lot of possibilities, and yet I can't think of one right now. But I know there's a ton. I know there, Gavarin.
No Gavarin.
No Gavarin. Let's see. I know there's a ton of enemies that start with the letter G. Gandreda?
Nope, not her either.
Not Gandreda. Okay.
Think equipment.
Equipment. Okay. Grapple beam.
No, not the grapple beam either.
No. Okay.
We have the gravity suit.
The gravity suit. That's a good one. That's a good one too. Yeah.
Okay. H. I found
H.
something like right away, but I don't. This might be a deep cut. I don't know. I couldn't think of anything else.
Yeah, we're finding needles in the haystack, so I'm not expecting to get most of these, but let's see. H. I feel like I don't know why. I feel like there's a lot of stuff in Prime 2 in particular that's related to the letter H. Is this Prime 2 related?
No, I can't think.
No,
I could like. Isn't Helios? Helios is a boss actually. That could have been one. It's not, but
okay. Not Helios and not really Prime 2 related.
This is
okay.
2D Metroid related.
2D Metroid related. Is this like the name of a 2D Metroid enemy?
Yeah.
I'm probably not gonna guess it off the top of my head.
Okay.
So many of those names are very forgettable.
This is the Hornode, which is that little creature that the X-Parasite sucks up and transforms. I couldn't think of a whole lot of other.
That's a really good pick. If I'm not gonna lie,
that's
a good one.
I guess like Hunter could have been one.
I like Hornode better personally. I think that's a good one.
All right, let's go to I.
Well, technically in the Japanese version of Metroid Prime, Phendrana Drifts is called the Ice Caves. I don't think it's going to be that though.
No.
I will say Ice Beam potentially though.
Ice Beam it is. Yep.
All right.
Okay. This was the last letter that I had, and it was J, and I could not think of a damn thing for J. So I have something that's like completely like non-canon here.
Completely non-canon. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure I just gave it away, but
I don't know, J2L.
What's J2L?
No,
that's K2L.
I know. It rhymes.
You're not far off though, actually.
Yeah, I'm guessing this is like a Samus and Joey thing or like a Metroid manga thing.
It is
but like
literally Joey. Like
it's literally Joe. Okay.
I could not think of a single thing for J.
I'm not gonna lie. I was saying that out loud and it didn't even click at me, even though I just said the J word.
Is there any J's that you can think of? Like jump, but like that's too.
Yeah. That's like them using dash for D.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, the official account did it, but we can do better.
We're better than that on this show.
Yeah.
If anybody's got some J's out there, man,
there's probably Gel Zap, Metroid Prime.
Yeah, that's a good one. Gel Zap, terrible enemy. Yeah, maybe we could change that. Okay, well, how about this one? K.
K2L.
Not the pick, but would have been a good one too.
Okay, K. Let's see.
Oh, come on.
What? Yeah, it's not coming to my head right now.
No, nothing.
Oh, Kraid.
Yeah, there we go. K for Kraid, baby. K for Kraid. All right, L.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of L's to pick from here.
There's a lot of L's. There is some recency bias in my pick, I will say.
Okay, recency. So I'm thinking Metroid Dread then. Okay, or maybe Metroid Prime Remastered because you did just say you were playing that on your TV.
Or another game
Super
that I've
Metroid.
been playing. Or
a Metroid Other M.
Yeah.
Or Metroid Other M. God, L's in. Oh, I mean, Metroid Other M is an L. Ayo.
There you go.
Let's see. Lyle.
No, but right game.
Okay.
Think cuter.
Think a little birdie.
Little birdie. I love little birdie. I love that little thing. Okay, M. Well, no points for guessing M.
Mother. No, Metroid, obviously.
Yes, Metroid. Okay, N.
N.
Some recency bias here as well, potentially, but I would also say not that much. Not that much.
Not that much. So, not Other M, but maybe something a little less recent. Or maybe it is Other M? Maybe it is Other M? Okay, alright, okay. Man, I cannot think of anything in Other M that starts with the word N right now.
It's a boss.
It's a boss. Okay. Namhe and Fune?
No.
Nightmare.
There we go. Yeah.
Okay,
Nightmare.
there we go.
Yeah. Okay. O.
Oh. Man, this is difficult.
It's not as easy as it seems. O should be one that maybe we can get though, and we shouldn't have to think too hard about it.
Oh, yeah, I'm like, yeah, I don't know. This one, I feel like Metroid trivia and like the guess that Metroid character. Like, I feel like that's more my jam. This one though is not my jam. This one's really difficult for me.
I'll give you a hint. Look at your T-shirt.
Oh, I feel stupid now. Okay. Omega.
I got an Omega Metroid T-shirt on too. Look at us rocking.
Hey, there we go.
Okay, we only got a few.
You and
left.
me. Who would have thought? Not me.
There you go. P has a bunch of different ones that it could have been as well.
Plasma beam.
No, although that was what I first put down, but I deleted it and then put something which I thought was cooler.
Oh, okay, cooler. Phazon suit.
Phazon suit. There it is. Good guess. I was like Phendrana, Phantoon, Plasma Beam. Like, there's lots of cool stuff. Q.
Queen Metroid.
No, actually. That did not even cross my mind, actually. I was like, there's got to be only one Q in the entire series, and I totally biffed on Queen Metroid. I literally have a Queen Metroid on my shirt. No, this one's for you. This is for you.
This is for me. Oh,
yeah.
Man, what else starts with a Q?
Let's go to the prime. Quadraxis.
Oh, my boy.
Okay, R. Hopefully this one is easier.
Okay, R. The other M enemy we were talking about that starts with the R.
Oh, man.
Ridoji guy.
The mini boss, like, king. The cockroach of mini bosses. No, it is not him.
Yeah. Not him. Okay.
No.
I had to. I didn't think it was, but I had to throw that out there.
You actually fight this guy more times than I thought, and then you fight two of them on your way to Phantoon and Other M.
Yes.
I forgot about that. I was like, oh my god.
Gee, I think it's like 6 times in total in that game.
Yeah.
Let's see. Red Brinstar?
Nope. It is a character, in fact.
Okay, it's a character. So not the Chadmiral, not Silex. Let's see.
You weren't like far off with Red Brinstar. Just think lower.
Okay. Oh, pfft.
There it is.
The boy, the man of the hour, Ridley.
Yes, Ridley is R. We've got like a million options for S. Like, there's so many.
Screw Attack feels safe.
Nope, I thought about it. Didn't put Samus either, by the way. So that's
okay. You know, I know none of us are big wide beam appreciators, but I know we do love some spacer beam.
I thought about that and I didn't.
Oh, I was feeling spacer.
How's a good guess?
Item, character, area,
Faction?
faction. Oh, space pirates. There we go.
Space Pirates. Yeah,
That's a good
there
one.
we go.
That's a good one. Yeah, my next guess was gonna be Space Jump, so I'm glad you gave me the hint.
Yeah, you were on the right path. Okay, T.
P. Trace.
No.
Didn't think it was, but let's see. Torian.
No, good pick. I didn't think of that actually.
Let's see. I'm gonna ask again. Enemy, character, item.
Area. How do I position that? Area,
Too much of a spoiler. Gotcha.
Area, but bigger.
Okay, planet. Okay,
Yeah.
or space, or a planet / space station. Gotcha. Okay.
Yes.
Let's. Oh yeah. Talon 4.
Talon 4. Talon 4. You. This one was kind of tough too. It took me a little bit of.
Umos.
Yeah. I couldn't think of a
let's
single
go.
other you character. Okay, V.
V. Valhalla.
No, but good pick.
Let's see. Vesper Defense Outpost. Probably not. I mean, I guess there's no Hunters references here, but I thought I'd give it a shot.
It is not that, but there is Hunter's references.
Oh, okay.
Eventually. That's a spoiler.
Okay. It's like we only got a few more letters to go, so.
Yeah.
And you know, I think I know exactly what letter it is. Okay. V. What other V's
Don't overthink it.
are? Don't overthink it. Okay. Well, I mean, I don't know how else to think it. Unfortunately, that's the problem.
Okay, reoccurring.
Reoccurring. Okay, so something could be a place, could be an enemy, something that is recurring throughout the Metroid series. And it's just not occurring to me. I'm probably gonna feel very stupid in just
might,
a moment.
I hate to say.
You know what? Far from the first time that I felt stupid during this segment. So, just why not another one? In the words of DJ Khaled.
All right, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
The Variasuit.
Various. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's a good one.
Well, I bet you that you're going to do well on this one. W.
Yeah. I'm gonna say Weevil.
Ding, 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 ding. I actually, as we were doing this, I was like, I couldn't think of another W, and I was like, oh, the wrecked ship. That could be one.
Oh, that would have been a good one. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. X.
Xeno Research Lab from Metroid Prime 3.
No, but that would have been good as well.
X Parasite.
X Parasite. It is. Y. I really struggled with Y, to be honest with you. I don't know if you'll get this one.
Yeah,
It's from 2D Metroid.
2D Metroid. Yeah, the first thing that came to me was Yavin, just because I watched what should we call it? Andor fairly recently, but obviously that's not Metroid. So 2D Metroid starts with the letter Y. I'm gonna assume this is another obscure 2D Metroid name that I can't remember.
It's not like super obscure. It's game specific.
Okay.
You know it. Like if I told you the name, you could instantly see it.
Gotcha. Okay. Gotcha. It's just one of those things that's just not quite occurring to me right now. But we're thinking 2D Metroid. It's a game-specific enemy, so not recurring. It's a one and done.
Never came back. Either.
Never came back. Okay, so this isn't Metroid Dread then, since that's the latest entry. I don't think Samus Returns has very many exclusive enemies. So, at least not ones that start with a Y that I can think of.
I think you're close.
Okay. I'm thinking maybe Zero Mission then? Am I on the right path?
You're on the right path, but you're on the wrong game.
Wrong game. Okay. Right path, wrong game. Fusion or is that too cold?
Nope, that's the right path.
That's the right path. Okay, so
you've landed at the right
Yakuza.
Yakuza. Yakuza is it. And let's finish it off. Z for
Zebes.
There it is.
Or Zeta Metroid.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that could have been... can you think of any other Y enemies? Or Y anything in this game?
I'm sure if I did some research, I could find something, but I can't think of anything else off the top of my head.
I did, like I said, it took me about 5 minutes, so there probably is something, but the J and the Y, I was like, what the hell do we have in this series that is... Because I didn't want to go super enemy specific. I thought Hornode was about as specific as we could get. But, yeah.
I think Hornode's a good choice still. I think that's one of my favorite picks, especially because of how significant it is to Metroid.
Yeah.
As one minor enemy.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there we go. So our thoughts on Shadow Labyrinth, a little fun Metroid A-Z. Clearly going to beat whatever is coming down the pipe on that janky Nintendo Today app. So yeah. This was a fun time, Doom. I had a good time, and I'm really excited to talk about Shadow Labyrinth in full when the game actually comes out. So, very much looking forward to that, and hopefully everybody that got a code for it enjoyed it and had a good time with it.
Yeah. Spoiler alert: Shadow Labyrinth is our next inspired by Metroid series. We're gonna wait probably 2-3 weeks or so after the game comes out, but we are definitely gonna be talking. Yeah, but we're definitely gonna be talking about it for sure.
What we will be doing, though, is we've got a few of our series favorites coming back here. Metroid manga in review is coming back. I've been pushing it, but we are finally going to finish Samus and Joey. So that will be next week, everybody. So tune in for that. It's going to be Alien in review coming back as well the week after that. With me and Gooey, and we are talking about Ridley Scott's Prometheus, which has a ton of Metroid Prime references in there. I mean, obviously not exact Metroid Prime references, but there's a lot of parallels that you can draw as well. So that's going to be something that we're going to do, and we are going to be talking about a brand new series. Doom pitched this, actually, and I thought this was a really clever idea. We are calling it Arsenal Evolution, and we are going to be looking at how our favorite items and abilities in this franchise have changed and evolved over time. We're going to be starting off with the classic Morph Ball. So we're going to take a look at that. And then, we're going to kind of play it by ear after that. And then, we'll keep it coming. And hopefully we get some news about Metroid Prime 4 and its release pretty soon. And obviously, as that game kind of starts, the hype cycle really starts getting into gear, we'll be right there with it as well. So that's what's coming up on Omega over the next couple of weeks. So hopefully you guys are going to be tuning into that with us.
Yeah, like I said, I have pre-planned our episodes as far as October 1st. I have to imagine we're going to get some Prime 4 news before then. I hope so. But we'll see. We will see.
All right, everybody. Well, that is going to do it for us. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you again to Bandai Namco for supplying us with some codes for us and to give away to our community. That was very much appreciated. Looking forward to playing Shadow Labyrinth when it comes out. So make sure it's on your wish list wherever you would like to play it on PlayStation, Xbox, Steam, Nintendo Switch 2, whatever. It's going to be there. We would, of course, like to encourage everybody to go over to OmegaMetroid.com. We've got news, we've got guides, we've got maps, we've got lots of thought pieces, tons of different stuff cooking over there. And yes, I have begun work on the Metroid Other M walkthrough, so that will be slowly coming out over the next... It probably won't be out before Metroid Prime 4 comes out, but it'll be out sometime, so... check out OmegaMetroid.com and check out our YouTube channel as well. If you could subscribe, that'd be really cool. We'd love for you to, to go and check out some of the content that we do, streaming. We do these episodes live every single week, so go and check us out over there. You can see our faces as and our Metroid t-shirts as we are doing these live podcasts, so consider doing that. And, of course, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/SPNet. You could get bonus monthly shows. The Great Metroid Area Ranking is coming to a close. There's only 3 episodes left, something like that. So that is going to be there's never been a better time to get on the train than right now. We also just dropped the first episode of Middle Earth, the podcast. So me, Allison Aletha, and Corey Richmond from Zelda Dungeon, we got together and we've started a new monthly show talking about Lord of the Rings. Lots of people were asking for that, so we finally got together and we did it, and the first episode is out. So would love to hear some feedback on that. So consider heading over to Patreon if you can. And lastly, check us out wherever you get your podcasts. Like, subscribe, recommend, review, rate, comment on Spotify, all that kind of fun stuff. And check us out wherever you are on Blue Sky. We are at Omega Metroid, at Spiteri316, at Doominal Cross. And that, my friends, is going to do it for us. So, until next week, everybody, take care.